Hi, everyone. We're going to get ready for planning your hikes this afternoon. Hi, let me know where you guys are chiming in from in the comments. Today, we're going to be talking all about hiking and planning your hikes, especially when it comes to permits and such. Hi, everyone. Let me know where you're chiming in from in the messages. Ooh, Santa Monica. All right, cool. Hi. New York, love it. New York, lots of New York friends. Pennsylvania, awesome. I hope everyone in the East Coast is doing okay. Yeah, I know New Jersey parks are closed. So many parks. Canada, awesome. New Hampshire, Lakewood, California. Thanks. Here's my ring. My mom gave it to me a long time ago. Washington, California, Sherman Oaks, Southern California. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Arizona. Awesome. California. Very cool. So it's 5:02. I usually give everyone just a few moments to chime in. And make sure you grab a drink of your choice. Right now, I have water. I'm going to try to get a little workout in afterwards. So Beth is chiming in from Puerto Rico. Whoa, Downey, California. I'm in Orange County in California. So Southern California here. And so first off, thank you guys so much for joining. This has been so much fun, even though we're all with stay-at-home orders and all of that. These classes have been really great. You guys have been giving so many amazing tips. And today I am looking forward to talking all about trip planning. So, when you're first starting out, we briefly talked about last classes, we talked about your basics on how to get started planning. And one of the biggest ones that I recommended, and everyone, hi Escondido, everyone chimed in on was All Trails. And so today I'm actually going to just quickly give you some resources on All Trails. I tried recording the All Trails, like a video on how to use All Trails earlier, but unfortunately, I don't think this system is going to allow for us to actually use that. So let's start with hello. Okay, so let's start with, I'm going to actually show you some different tools I created to talk about today. And by the way, I want you guys to chime in. So this is a really fun, everyone gets to chime in, give your tips. And so first off, let's talk a little bit about All Trails. Okay. So I have it up on the website right now because, like I said, I'm not able to show you through my app right at this moment, but I will show you some different things. So All Trails is one really great way to plan hikes, especially when you're first starting out. And so the cool thing about this, now again, mind you, this is the computer version. You could put in a trail name in here. You could actually also look for places on their map. So like I'm going to show you, you could look at on their map, and this is also really great for you even on your phone app, right? So you can say, hey Brittany, I can't wait to talk all about what we did today. But anyhow, so on your map, in your phone, when you download the app, you can actually see what trails are near you. So then right here, I can go, oh, okay, I want to go to this park, and it's going to give me a ton of different hikes in my area. It actually has, for example, let's click on one that's actually open. Let me click on a hike that's actually open. Well, for some reason, this one's saying it's closed right now, but it gives you the information on what kind of a hike it is, distance, all of that. You can get directions to the trailhead and all of that. So this is one great tool, right? And this is for when you're getting started. Now, I wanted to let you guys know that I've recorded a video that is on our YouTube, and that essentially shows you
Karla,
how to use it.
challenge.
I'm going to go ahead and mute this for now.
About how to use All Trails.
So first thing you're gonna... Okay, so I'm gonna mute it because what I want to show you guys, now this is an older version of the All Trails app, but what I want to show you is some of the great tools that you can use All Trails for. And the main one is that you can download trails offline. And once you download them offline, you're able to then follow the path and ensure that you don't get lost. And there's a specific way to download it. And I actually, in this video, show you how to download the offline maps. Now, in order to use the offline mode, you do need to actually get their Pro Edition. Their Pro Edition is $29.99 per year, but they do have discounts sometimes. And also when you buy a finisher medal, you do get, I believe they offered you guys about 33% off with a code through our finisher medal. So I'm here showing you not only how to get directions through the app, from your phone. This one is not the free. The one I'm talking about, the Pro, is not the one that you can download the free, download the map, offline map. But you can still use it if you have reception, you can still use this. This is a great, great tool. So I'm going to try to get to the part where I think that's the next step we jump into. And that's that little button right here. You see this little download button? That's the one you're going to want to use for the offline, and that's included in the Pro version. So you also can check in and save these trails to your lists, like create a 52 hike challenge. So this is how you download it right here. I'm kind of showing you there, and it'll give you a little notification when it downloads. So sorry that it's a little bit blurry, you guys, but go to our YouTube. This is one of the highest viewed videos on our page. So I'm going to go and check out and see what comments you have so far, because I want to keep this going and see what comments you have. So Rachel International says she loves All Trails. She's been using it for a year now, and she uses it when she travels. Yeah, you know, I want to let you guys know, I was in Bali at the beginning of the year, and I was looking for a map for a trail that had been recommended in a book, and I could not find the trail with the directions. So I went on All Trails and I found it, and it was an absolutely fun, fabulous hike. So that's really, really another way that I feel like it's such a great tool to have. And let's see what other comments you have. Rachel says that the Lifeline feature is so great when you hike alone to let people know where you are and your progress. Yeah. So that also, there's an app called Karen. And that app also allows you to let a safety circle know where you're hiking. And it also has similar capabilities to All Trails. But when you're done, you push a button and it notifies your circle you're back. And that's the Karen Me app. And I'll show you that their logo on our website. It's something interesting to look into. They also have a fee. When you buy the finisher medal, they give you a year for free, by the way. So let me show you that real quick, because I'm going to keep showing you different things. But yes, it's essentially the same thing as the Lifeline, which also notifies your circle. So let me show you this real quick. So this is Karen. And Karen is an app that basically lets you let your family know where you're headed and then when you're back. So let me see if their video actually shows you how to use it. Yeah, there you go. Basically, you let your safety circle know where you're headed, what time you're going to be expected back by, and then they'll notify your safety circle. So it lets them know when you leave, and then it lets them know when you're back at your car. So let me kind of fast forward to the end of, I guess, where she does back at her car, and now she's going to let her family know, that she's back. This app also lets you know where there's reception. So that's an interesting one to check out. Let's get back to your comments and other things, because we've got a lot to cover today. So, and by the way, feel free to add your tips. So AZ Hiker Girl said she missed the first 2 classes. Are they available somewhere? She loves All Trails. And absolutely, all the classes from the last couple weeks are up on YouTube now. So go check those out. Adventures with Angelica says, All Trails Pro is worth every penny. I love downloading the maps, and when I get to a trail that doesn't have service, she's able to upload the map and follow the map. Yeah, that's why I highly recommend it, especially if you do not know how to read maps. We're going to get into that, you guys, in a little bit, and I'm going to show you why. Again, All Trails is incredible and super helpful. And then Adventures with Angelica also says to turn on your phone on airplane mode to save the battery. Yep, that was one of the biggest things I was going to say, that if you're going to use All Trails and depend on it, make sure, especially if you're doing a backpacking trip or something, that you have an extra battery pack or some way of charging your phone, because again, that's the problem with technology that runs on batteries, etc. And that's why we're going to talk about why I recommend learning how to read a map. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I Heart Zombie wants to know if we're still able to hike during the stay at home. Every state, every city is under different orders. We at 52 just recommend that you are following your local orders. If you can walk around your neighborhood, it's a personal decision. So we're just going to leave it at that. Everyone should follow their orders. All right. So we've talked a little bit about some of these, this app, All Trails. Now let's talk about some different things, which include books, right? So here's a book by modern hiker Casey, and this one is hiking in Los Angeles. And for example, I'm just going to show you like one of the hikes that he recommends. And so what he does in this one, let me actually turn the camera around so it's easier for you to see. Okay. So Escondido Falls. So what he does is, sorry guys, he breaks it down and he says, you know, this is the difficulty rating. Here's how many miles round trip. Here's the elevation gain and the high point. So by the way, I talk about how I did the John Muir Trail and I never looked up the elevation profile. And I think that that's why it killed me. There's about 50,000 feet of elevation gain and loss on the trail. And so I would have totally, anyways, this is not a lot. So this is a good trail for a beginner. If you have 1,000-foot gain in like a mile, that's a steep like peak or something. So you definitely want to get familiar with your elevation gain. That's really, really important. And he tells you, you know, when, you know, it's good to go. He gives you some different information, GPS locations. Which, by the way, you're definitely going to want to spend a little bit of time learning how to put your GPS in your phones, you guys. So important. Here he gives you a breakdown of what you're going to see. He gives you directions. And again, using All Trails, you can probably type that in, use their direction features, but always understand how to use GPS and your phone. That's super important. And know that every different maps use different, sometimes they're going to take you to different places. Like I've punched in a GPS in Google Maps that takes me somewhere totally different than Apple. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but definitely always double check your GPS coordinates. And then he has like his, you know, little write-up, a photo, and his map. Okay, so this is why it's super important to learn how to read a map, right? And so like he's giving you the parking information and then he's actually outlining the hike for you here. So you could see this is the trail right here, the trailhead. That's the trailhead, and then you can follow it. There's your end point and then back, right? So it's really, really important to actually understand how to read a map. I'm going to talk about some other things here. Actually going to get into some really cool things that I'm excited to show you guys. So let me show you, I'm going to pretend that we're going to, let me open this up. Sorry, you guys are seeing all my stuff over here, but let me take it out. Okay, there we go. All right, let's pretend today for today's, all right, now we can work. All right, so let's pretend we want to go to Big Pine Lakes. This is a huge map, which I highly recommend when you do a backcountry or some kind of a backpacking trip, that you buy one of these maps. And something that I'll just kind of give you some little tips on is as follows. Okay, so let me just show you. So this is your map, and what you're going to do is it tells you where to start the trailhead, right? So this is where people tend to park, in this Glacier Point area, and then people start hiking up here and then they take the trail. Anyways, so this is basically a regular map, and learning how to read it is super important. But let me show you how you learn how to read a map. So this is right here. This is the peak. So this is the peak of Mount Alice. It's at 11,617 feet. Anytime you see this little kind of ridge, it's pointing down, that is a ridge versus when it goes up, okay? So there's two differences. It's really steep when it's going up, and it's, so that is like the, let's see, where is the point I want to show you? Trying to show you one part. Well, it shows like how steep, depending on how thin these lines are, that shows how steep it is. So super steep, not so steep. So when you're trying to climb a peak, you can actually go, well, what route do I take to climb this? We're not going to get into like the super details, but basically when it's pointing down, that's a good way to kind of go down the trail. When it's super pointy, that is not a good idea. But I don't, this doesn't have a good, this is a little bit more pointy. You see how pointy that is? So that's steep right there. So anyhow, once you learn how to read your maps, you can actually use this to go like, am I on the right trail? So anyways, this trail will show you different points, right? Like from this point to this point, it's 3.4 miles, and that's how you read these maps. So once you decide like, oh, I want to hike here, I can take the trail to the left or to the right, and it kind of shows you different things. So today's class isn't so much on actually how to read maps, because that is an actual course you should take, map and compass. And always, always, always put your maps in a Ziploc bag and carry this as a backup, because your phone might not work. So, you know what? I'm going to take a moment and actually now talk about permits, because in order to do certain trails, you're going to need permits, right? And so that's kind of one of the most confusing things that I think people have a hard time with. And so let's talk about permits. And like one of the big hikes people want to do in their lifetime is, for example, Mount Whitney. Well, with Mount Whitney, you can't just pick up and go hike the trail. You actually need to get a permit. And not doing so is highly not recommended. Not only are you breaking the law, but you're putting your life potentially at risk, because they don't know you're out there if something happens. I'm going to take a quick moment to look at your comments and see before we get started, and I show you a little bit about that. All right, so let's see. And Traveling Chicana wants to know if I'm referring to the class Map and Compass with REI. You can take it with REI. You could take it like I've taken Wilderness Travel course through the Sierra Club. They have a great Map and Compass section to the course where you get really in depth and learn how to read maps. So, and where do you find those maps? I bought that map at REI. This one is by, let's see if I could see who wrote this one. There's specific branded maps actually. So this one is a Tom Harrison map. And by the way, that's the brand. That's the actual, Tom Harrison has the best maps for any backpacking. And they're like, you can go online and look those up. So let's talk about planning and getting permits. Okay. So, recreation.gov is where you're going to usually need to get most of your actual permits. So let's start with, how do I even get here? Okay, so let's go to so you first will start with going to recreation.gov. And by the way, this video we're going to put up on the website and on our YouTube page, so you can actually review it later on. Okay. So let's say here's where you go. Like you can get camping spots, you can get tours and tickets, you can get recreational activity ideas and buy different, passes and stuff. And then here are your permits. So you need permits, like I said, for certain activities. All right, so now that you've picked that you want permits, now you need to look for what permit you're looking for. So remember I said Mount Whitney. Here's another one, the Inyo National Forest. So if you want to go to Big Pine, this is where I went last time and I loved it. you would go to the Inyo National Forest. And what you do once you're here, you need to understand or know beforehand, like, where is your trailhead, okay? So let's talk a little bit about, they have their rules and regulations. Groups cannot be more than 15 people. The person who is getting the permit needs to be picking up the permit, which, by the way, a lot of times, actually all times, you have to go pick the permit up. So make sure that you know that, because you have to pick the permit depending on when you want to start your trip. They have certain office hours. Another thing to note is these important dates. Okay, you can't just say, I want to go hike Mount Whitney tomorrow, or I want to go do. All right, sorry guys, there was a quick little stop in our video. But what I was saying is, you can't just pick up and go to do any hike tomorrow. You actually have to reserve these permits way in advance. And I believe what happens when they open up, so I think it's 3 months in advance. So let's see if this tells me when you're able to actually pick up your permit. Let me see. I don't see it right now. But it does tell you the dates. There's a date, there's quotas. So that means only a certain amount of permits are issued per day. And so you see right now it says November 2nd through April 30th. This is winter time. And that's probably why you're not, you don't need a permit to pick up a permit before. You can just go get one at the visitor center. And let's look at this. This one's special quota for Cottonwood Pass, and same with May 1st through November 1st. Okay, so what you need to do is basically, I believe it's, like I said, 3 months before at like 8 a.m. in the morning, you have to come to the website, and then you have to go and actually reserve your permits. All right, so here's more information. I'll let you guys look through this on your own. But let's go explore, because that's what we want. So what you do is, once you know your trailhead, you're going to need to know that. And then you're going to need to answer this question. For us, we're going to say we're not. Sorry, my bad. We're not. So now it's going to pull up their calendar. And these are all the different permits that they're going to basically be offering. So as you can see, there's like a bunch of different entry points. And to view availability, okay, so we're going to go ahead and we have to put in our group size. Hold on 1 second. So we want to do an overnight, okay? We're not doing Mount Whitney this time around. We're just doing an overnight. And you're going to put in your start date. So just for purposes of showing you, I'm putting today's date. I'm just going to say one person. I just want one pass. All right, so now it's telling me here are all of the entry points, okay? So remember what I said, I want to go to Big Pine. So I'm going to do the, I believe it's North Fork. And then it tells me if permits are available. W means it's a wait. I believe it's, you have to go into the office to pick up tickets. Or not tickets, but your permits. So let me just go down to show you where it tells you. Here it is, walk up. My bad, not wait list. Walk up available. It gives you the number of passes available or permits available, and or how many are not available. So let's go back up, because I want to show you what it looks like up here. So right now, and let me put this a little bit more straight, we're going to go the next 5 days, because there's only walk up available, and unfortunately nothing is available. So I have to keep looking. So by the way, now I finally get to what time period. I'm in May, and I'm on May 3rd, and it's saying that there are different permits available. So I would then be able to go here and go, okay, it's Sunday the 3rd. I want, 3 permits. I mark it off. It shows me the starting point, and then I just say, yeah, I want to book it now. Okay, so then that's where you log in. So anyways, questions so far, feel free to add them in, and let me see what I have going so far. Natsuit said, often it's the day before to pick up the permit, for example, at Idlewild. Yeah, every permit office is different, so make sure when you're trip planning that you think ahead and you plan ahead. Super, super important. So I also want to show you, I'm going to get one other thing in order and ready to show you, because some locations require you to actually fill out a form as a permit and you have to fax it in. So let me show you that. And also feel free to type in any comments, any tips you have regarding getting permits, anything else that you think would be beneficial for the community to know. I really appreciate you guys giving your feedback. I'm not a, I don't know it all. And so I absolutely love, when you guys chime in and you help with these different tips for the community. So with that being said, I am going to, let me look up the permit there was a recent permit that I had to actually, that I recently had to print. And I want to pull that up so you could see that. Where did it go? Okay, give me 1 second because I'm going to see if I have it printed or not here. Thought I had it ready, you guys. Here it is. I do have it. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and move this video around again. Okay, there we go. You see, so sometimes you're gonna have to print it out. This is for the Sierra National Forest, and they're asking, here's the information they ask, the leader information, they need your fees, they want to know where you're entering, when you're exiting, and all of this information, right? So you have to be ready to go, and it gives you the information as to where you're going to go ahead and mail this information in. So a lot of times there's so many places to explore. We don't just have to stick to our local hikes. There's so many different places to explore in California alone. I think we get a little bit like nervous, or it's like, oh my gosh, it's just so much to know, right? But once you learn the steps, it's super easy to plan hikes. So I went from like, I don't really enjoy planning hikes so much and doing all of the trip planning, but when I had to plan the JMT, it really, really helped me to like go, okay, I know where to go get the permit, because we decided to get the Cottonwood Pass permit. And I knew I would be able to start from that point. And then it was just a lot easier because I had already taken these steps before. So it's just getting started. So force yourself to get out of your comfort zone and to try to attempt to get a permit to go hiking to some beautiful places. You can also go into the different offices, like the Inyo County office, and actually walk in. Let's say you get there at like 9 a.m. You can ask them what permits are available for hikes. And if you have all of these tools in place, like I've done the Cottonwood Lakes hike before in a day, and it was incredibly beautiful. Also, I will say this disclaimer, make sure you know how you do with elevation, because that kind of a hike, I think we went from like, being at like sea level and go up to 11,000 feet. I was pretty sick when I did that because I hadn't been training. So just understand that different hikes are going to have different elevation, and that could affect how you feel. So just disclaimer. So let's see what else we've got. We've got someone wants to know if section hiking the Appalachian Trail requires a permit. That's not a trail that I'm familiar with. I don't know what kind of requirements. Does anyone know in the community? I know the Pacific Crest Trail, so the John Muir Trail is in that vicinity, and so are a lot of these hikes that I've just talked about. So there are requirements for permits. So if anyone in the community has any notes on that for the Marie C, that would be awesome. And in the meantime, okay, I have a couple more things that I did want to show you guys. So please, again, ask any other questions. I will do my best to answer the questions that I do have the answers to. But I'm going to have us move on into some other really important things, which is weather. So before you go out and start hiking, you need to double check the weather always say the week of, and especially the day before. So one of the things that I highly recommend that you do, and it looks like we got a response, so I'll go back and I will help you once I'm done. But I want to show you something. So once you start climbing peaks, there's this website called mountainforecast.com, and you can pick different peaks and high points, and then it's going to have the weather, okay? So let me first show you something. It's going to give us the day, and it's going to give us like what the wind is the wind miles per hour. And this is something really important that we're going to talk about in just a few moments. But basically it's telling us, what's possibly going to happen. They're talking about there might be some snow. Here's the high 30 and the low 30. And then the chill freezing level is 25 degrees at 5,100 feet. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but every time you gain 1,000 feet, it gets colder and colder, and that's not including once you add the wind chill. So if you're at, let's say, 25 degrees at 5,100 feet, and then you go up to 9,000 feet, your wind chill and the increase is going to make it that much more colder. So now you go from 25 to maybe 15 degrees. And again, really important when you're climbing peaks to understand the wind, because that's going to make the difference between having a pleasant hike and having a really unpleasant, cold, and potentially dangerous, very dangerous hike. And at 52 hikes, we always say the mountains are always going to be there. So let's talk about this, which is what I was just telling you. So every time you go up 1,000 feet, depending on the weather, it's going to feel it's going to actually change by either 3.3 Fahrenheit or 5.4. And so it's going to be so much colder for every 1,000 feet from the base of the mountain. And I just pointed out or pulled out this chart that shows you if you're doing a temperature, let's say it's 40 degrees and now your wind is 5 miles per hour, it actually is going to feel like 36 degrees outside. So these are all really, really great little things to know and to understand when you're trip planning, okay? And again, if it's going to be snowing, if it's going to be raining and your life is at danger, do not go out. Go when it's going to be pleasant. The mountains are always going to be there. The pictures don't matter. That's what we care about here at 52 is your safety is number one. Let's leave ego out of it and let's keep this fun. Let's keep this safe. And if you have any other tips, please let me know. But to answer your question regarding the AT needing permits, Salvi Nomad said that the AT does require backcountry permits for the sections in the national parks. Now you'll have to double check. And thank you so much for that. And Kaylin wants to know if there's a criteria for knowing when a permit is required. She's only walked on normal park trails. Yeah, when you start doing your research, usually in the research, it's going to tell you if you need a permit or not. Now, I do believe that that's a recommendation that has been made before. It would be nice if there was a website where you could find that. But I find that when I'm researching, like let's say I did want to do this Big Pine Lakes, when I was doing my research, because you can't just go do that when I wanted to backpack that one. And so when I started doing my research online, I read you need permits. And by the way, this was when I first started out. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is too overwhelming. Anyways, I also want to let you guys know, I don't know, it doesn't seem like this stay-at-home order is going to be over anytime soon. And thus, our gift to you guys is that we're going to continue these classes and they get better because we're going to do backpacking 101, camping. We're going to do a ton of other classes. And I love backpacking so much, you guys, that I'm just so excited to share this information with you guys. So anyways, keep an eye out for our classes. Next week's class is going to be all on safety. So we're going to talk about like what to do on the trails if you have certain encounters, etc. So keep an eye out. Make sure you put it in your calendar. And I'm super happy to help you guys on your journey. So let's see what else we've got. Yes, and actually Salvi Nomad has a great tip on this on this feed here, she talked about, yeah, by the way, the backpacking 101 is going to be like 2 classes because there's so much information to learn, so much to talk about. I'll bring out all my tools and supplies and show them to you guys. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. So anyhow, let's go back to this really great point. So Big Pine Lakes, I wanted to backpack Big Pine Lakes, and that's why I needed a permit. But if you were going to day hike it, and you would not be able to do all of this trail in a day, because it's just way too, the elevation is way too high up and it's just way too much. But I'm going to show you real quick again. So let's say you wanted to do a section of it and you did it in a day. You could literally take the trail, and I believe, let me see where I am just to not, okay. So it starts here. So let's say you made it to your first lake. You could make it up to the first lake and then come back down and be done with your day hike. You don't need a permit for that. You need a permit for usually overnights and when you're going to stay and backpack. All right. So let's see. Let's see what else we've got going. All right. Yeah, no, you guys, backpacking is one of the most amazing experiences of your life. There's just something about carrying everything on your pack and just being able to be one with nature and not having any stress of like, you can take it easy and you can cook your food out. It's so peaceful. It's my happy place. Like, honestly, whenever I'm stressed out or I'm struggling with something, my happy place is actually Big Pine Lakes. And I think about that feeling of that peace that you get when you're out there, the beautiful lake in front of you. Oh, it's beautiful, you guys. So I'm so excited to share that with you guys. And then 82 Nelly wants to know, do I ever do group hikes? Obviously, when they open the trails. Yes, I do hikes here in California. And by the way, today, Brittany, who I gave a shout out to earlier, she is someone that has helped me in a leadership training that we just started filming today. And we have chapters. So those leaders will be able to lead hikes all around the US, and it's super exciting. And because I can only do so much, right, in my area, I can't be everywhere. So now you will be able to go and join your local hike and at your local chapter. So to let you guys know, Clisai, I don't know, said, I've had the opportunity to attend over if your life talks. I'm not sure what that means, but he had the opportunity to attend one of my live talks and gained a lot of knowledge. I look forward to these live chats. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be a part of your guys' journey. And the Marie C says, I'm so glad I stumbled upon this. Oh yeah, you guys. Absolutely. So I believe we have touched on everything. Did you guys have a drink? What did you guys drink on the chat? I'm just having water. Do you have any other questions before we end today's chat? And 82 Nelly wants to know, will they be announcing the group hikes and or is there a site we can check? Yes, we will be announcing the hikes. And they will be on our website under events. So this is all going to happen, of course, when it's safe. So we're all hopeful, and all we can do is do our best, stay healthy, follow the orders that are in place to hopefully bring down that curve, as they are saying. Everyone's drinking water. Hey, Gordon, water and tea, love it. You guys, any other questions, any other tips? I really, really hope that this information has been super helpful to help you planning your hikes. And I'm just, really, really want to commend you guys for being a part of today's talk. Don't forget, you can actually use this talk as a hike if you don't want to make up a hike. And so we're just going to continue pushing on here as a community. The backpack course will also be a live course. And yes, it will be posted. Irish Tea Rose. We're going to publish this on Facebook and YouTube. Keep an eye out. Let me show you real quick. Hi. Let me show you real quick. So here is our YouTube page. So let me see if I can go to our, okay, there we go. This is our YouTube page. And right here we have Hiking 102 from last week. We have our flow yoga and restoration class from week 1 of the stay home. And here we have hiking 101 and how the hiking, journey could potentially transform your life. And then we have other videos, etc. So go ahead and check back in, and this video will be published on our YouTube. And Kaylin, and you're so welcome, you guys. Namaste. I'm so happy to be able to just support you guys from afar. Kaylin, yes, we do publish these on our newsletter. And if you're not in our newsletter, please DM me and I will add you to the newsletter. And we also share the little posts on social media to let you guys know. Fit Katra, is there a way you can hike Mount Whitney without a permit from the west side? I believe it wouldn't, see, that's the thing. Whitney is so far that you would actually have to get a permit. For example, let me give you a prime example. So, and by the way, I'll get back to you guys on the other questions. So you can't really do that. First off, Mount Whitney is a very, very long hike. It's like 24 miles. I've done it, by the way. It's like 24 miles. And no matter what, even if you do it in a day, you need a permit. What I recommend is you give yourself a 3-day window and you basically camp out there. There's so many places to camp, and you go in and walk into the office and check to see if they have a permit. Also, depending on the weather, like sometimes when I did it, it was October. I was able to get a permit pretty easily and the weather was still nice. The other thing is, for example, I started the John Muir Trail from Cottonwood, but I think to get to Whitney, it's like a couple of days from that entry point. So you can't just show up to Whitney and like start at a local, there's not like another trailhead that's local. So it would actually be quite complicated and very long, and you would have to backpack because it's really, really long. So to answer your question, no, I would not recommend that you go do Whitney some other route. And Salvi Nomad wants to know, how much do permits cost on average? It depends. And I'll tell you right now, I actually have, let me look up some information because I do have some orders here that I've purchased last year, and I did get Whitney permits, and I think it was like $10 or $15 per permit, but it looks like you can get it for, let's see, just a regular permit was about $11. So there you go. And Dustufer said, thank you. Haven't been hiking in years and excited to get back out. You are so welcome. And Nelly 82 wants to know, you would need a day permit or overnight permit. Fit Katra said $16. Yeah. I mean, every permit is going to be vary, but it sounds like they're about $10 to $20-ish. So, and then remember, like that actually, it's not a per day permit. So, when I did the John Muir Trail, I actually paid a permit of like, technically it was $11 per person. And I ended up buying, a couple of permits, and it only ended up being me and a friend, but $22, is what we paid. What was really expensive for that trip, and for any trip you do overnight, is going to be your gear and your food and stuff like that. And obviously your time, but if you're just doing a basic overnight, it's your gear and then maybe $11 for the permit. Really affordable overall. So, yeah, you guys have asked some really great questions and your feedback has been wonderful. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good evening. And if you do feel so inclined, please check out our website. Support us in any way you can. We also have a PayPal link in the newsletter if you want to donate towards 52 hikes. We do have a small team here, and just like everyone else, we're kind of in this like unknown what's going to happen situation, but it's all good. I do this because I really truly believe in the power of the outdoors, and I truly also really want every single human being to heal themselves and to be healthy, happy, and whole. And that's why I'm here doing this work. And it's my passion, and I'm super grateful to you guys for being a part of it. You're so welcome, everyone. Thank you.